so tame. It's so tame. It would have other kids would have run away a long time ago. Is it calling out that one? It's small. Is it a male or a female? This is a male. Hi everyone! We are the foster triplets and mother, and from the chilly island of Jamaica. At the moment, we bring you a dose of inspiration.
Well, today, earlier you would have seen the girls petting a kid. But we are not going to be looking at kid as the object lesson today. We are going to be using sugarcane. Sugarcane was one of the main sources of income in our country. When you can travel miles and have sugarcane on both sides. There was a time, especially during December, November, December, we have what is called the crop season, where you can just smell the sugarcane from miles away, either being burned or just having it being processed at the time, harvested.
There's this sweet, slightly smoky smell in the air that you smell.
Yes.
Around that time.
Oh yes. And from that we get sugar, the brown sugar, we get the molasses, and many people come to Jamaica for what is known as the Jamaican rum. So that is used for harvesting to get brown sugar and other byproducts. But this one is what we love to eat. As you can see, there are different sizes of sugarcane, different color, different texture. Some parts look a bit rough. Yes, some parts different, different shapes, different sizes, soft, sweet. Some can be fresh, some can be salty.
Some can have a more dry effect.
Some can have a more dry effect, as if you're and spongy too at sometimes.
Yes, spongy.
Yes. I have here the top of the sugar cane, right? And if you notice, these are the buds coming up. So when we plant this, they will start sending up new sugar cane. New sugar cane will be sent up when we plant it, right? But we're not going to be looking at the planting of it. This is the very bottom of the sugar cane. See? As you can see, of all the different pieces of sugar cane, I have the piece that I like the most, and that would be not just the bottom of the sugar cane, but it's much bigger. I like this. Really nice and juicy sugar cane. And there's a message behind that. Marquin, one of the things I used to test him before I got married was to give him sugarcane to eat.
Sugarcane?
I watched how he was eating sugarcane, and you must be wondering, why would I use that? Well, the fact is, by someone eating a sugarcane, you can determine certain things about them.
Okay.
One, is the person a patient person? Is the person able to practice delayed gratification? Is the person may have a health issue, so they don't want the sweet part, they want just the fresh part, because the top of the sugar cane, like here, sometimes would be fresher than has less sugar content than the bottom.
Sometimes it's almost like water.
Sometimes it's almost like water, so sometimes people will eat that part because they have to be careful of the sugar content. There are some other persons too who
save the best for last.
Save the best for last. So they'll eat from the top and just look forward to eat the bottom of the sugar cane. And that is Marquin, that is my husband.
That's us too. All three of us.
So eat from the top to the bottom, right?
So basically Dad exemplified that he was quite patient, and so he waited until he ate the fresh part of the sugar cane. Then he would get to he saved the best for last, and he had the sweetest part of it, which is the bottom of it.
Yes. So, and I would mention that for young people on a whole, it's important to be patient with a process. Don't rush it. If you want to be able to build a house, or you want to go to university, it won't just happen overnight. You have to be patient with the process, right?
Patience is a virtue.
It is. No, for me, I must admit, when I'm eating the sugar cane, I just cut the sweetest part and I would just eat that part, and then I would eat, go up, and whenever it starts a bit fresh, start to taste a bit, start to get a bit fresh, I would just stop. Now, Marvin doesn't like to see that because he said, Nicole, you need to eat from the top to the bottom. And then again, it also speaks about my experience growing up. The parts that I would like to eat, I used to eat and let that wait for last. But because it was so many of us, if I have extra meat in my plate and my father sees it, or that it doesn't have to be extra, but I would eat the rice, for example, and leave the meat. And if one of my brothers asks for something, Daddy, I would like to have some meat. Sure. Stacy doesn't want her, so maybe she can share it with you. And I didn't have a choice. I just had to share it. So what I would do, I'd eat my meat first. So if anybody is asking, too bad.
So you're saying that
I would have eaten up mine. So sometimes your experience in life help to shape some of the things, the decisions that you would have made. So the parts that I really like sugarcane. So before anybody asks me for any, I would just eat off the sweetest part first and leave the rest. You know, some people when they sit down and watch movie, they would have popcorn. In our culture, what we are accustomed to as a family, and what used to happen a lot is people would sit by. You notice this little, take out that from me, Michaeli. Hold it up there. We'd have something like a little bucket, and we have our little sharp knife, and we'll sit as a family and we'll eat sugarcane. We'll just peel sugarcane and we'll just eat.
That we'll sit on our back porch and Dad peels and we eat. And we eat.
Right. So your dad peels and we will sit and we'll just eat sugarcane and talk stories and just talk and laugh. And we don't only use this with sugarcane, but when it's mango season, or when it's guinea season, or when it's whatever season we have, we would sit as a family and eat. And I'm sure that many other families would practice the same thing.
I think what can be garnered from this lesson about sugarcane is that no matter the experiences that you have, no matter the things that you face in life, you can still, it does not have to shape the way you act and behave, and it doesn't have to shape your future.
Yes.
Delayed gratification as well.
And the essence of this lesson is delayed gratification. Be patient with the process. Learn to wait until things happen, and don't just try to rush things through, because in rushing things through, sometimes you end up losing than gaining. So when I saw how Marvin ate the sugarcane and he waited for the last part, I said, aha, he's gonna take care of me as I get older. Because I get sweeter as I get older.